Hey everybody, it's Mikhail, and I'm back with more Vegas predictions. This time, I'll be doing my predictions based off of the final region, which was the Denver City Finals. Quick recap of the course. Now, in my opinion, I feel like this was the toughest City Finals course in the entire season. First of all, these competitors were competing on altitude. Now, if you don't know what altitude is, it's basically when you're competing on a higher ground, so like a higher surface. So say if you're on top of a mountain, basically these competitors were competing on top of the mountain. So the air is different, the gravity is different, the surface is not going to feel the same as if you were just on a regular surface. So that's already one. And the wedge, which took out so many competitors last year in the LA City Finals, was back. And once again, it was a Ninja Killer. And as you can see, all the top 15, from 4th to 15th failed the wedge. So basically, you just had to advance there in order to qualify with the fastest time. Now let's get to the results and my predictions. Let's start with the females, as always. Jerry D'Aurelio. Now, I never heard of this female before. They said this was her third season, her first time in the City Finals. She did alright. I mean, she made it to the real winner. She did fail the transition. She has potential, but she's not there yet. So in my opinion, my prediction for her in Vegas, first 3 obstacles. Megan Martin, one of the most talented and gorgeous competitors in the entire show. In my opinion, I feel like Megan is the strongest female competitor in the entire show. A lot of people will disagree with me and think that Jessie Graff is, but with her rock climbing background and basically her consistency on the course, that certainly proves it. The only thing with Megan, as we all know, is she's slow. She has no speed. She always competes at a slow pace, very obstacle efficient, but she just competes. She's too slow, basically. And that's what's really holding her back from reaching Jessie Graff status. But I still think she's the strongest competitor. Now, she did fail the wedge, so once again, that was just a difficult obstacle, especially when you're on altitude, trying to really keep that bar straight. The key to the wedge is basically to maintain body control and keep that bar even. If you don't keep it even, it's uneven, and you try to do these big leaps, which Megan did, guaranteed you're going to fall. And the dismount was really tricky. It took out some competitors as well. But as for Megan, my predictions for her in Vegas would be, I say timeout. Because she did reach the warp wall a couple times, ANW 6 and ANW 7, and she was close on both attempts, but fatigue settled in and she wasn't able to complete it. I feel like Megan is very explosive. I feel like she has more fast twitch fibers than slow twitch, and that's probably why speed-wise, she's not really up there. She doesn't really have that much endurance as some of these other competitors. But in my opinion, I think she will clear the warp wall, and she probably most likely will time out in the first stage. So, final prediction, timeout first stage. Let's go to the male competitors. I don't know who this is. First stage. Brian Arnold. Now, this was a man who was once expected to complete the course. His breakout season in ANW 5 made it to the flying bars. Fortunately, failed the second to last transition. Really set the bar in ANW. A lot of people expected that he would be the first competitor to complete the course, in which he didn't, and ever since then, wasn't able to live up to those expectations. Stage 2 failures. And once again, he failed the wedge for a third consecutive time. So the wedge is truly Brian's downfall. In my opinion, if it's all mental with Brian, obviously he suffers from performance anxiety. I mean, it's pretty noticeable. But if Brian was able to if he was mentally focused for all the courses, he would most likely complete the whole course. I think he's capable of. I mean, you even saw in USA versus the World when all he had to do was make an easy dismount and he fell out of bounds. I mean, that's just straight up just ridiculous. So Arnold, unfortunately, there's always something holding him back. I feel like he's going to slip up as always. So my best prediction for him, second stage. Now, before I continue, I did see at the end of the episode last night, I did see some Vegas obstacles in the second stage. I think I mentioned this in the last video, but there was one obstacle. It was like the flying wing nuts. I think there was 4 of the wing nuts, but one of them was like a very tough transition. It was actually like perpendicular to the other wing nuts, so which makes it very difficult. And I think that was the second to last obstacle. And then the one before that looked like it was a beam obstacle. Like you had to build up momentum. Like the obstacle they had in Denver, the third obstacle, when you bounce off the trampoline to that beam, it looked kind of similar to that. But that wing nut obstacle looks very difficult. I feel like a lot of competitors are going to fail on that one. But as in Arnold's case, I think he would either fail that obstacle, the wing nut obstacle in the second stage, or the one before that. Ben Antoine. I've heard of him before. I think he was the black guy. The wedge. I don't really know him. I don't know what type of competitor he is. First stage. Drew Knapp. That save that he had on the Rail Runner was ridiculous. I mean, he was on that obstacle for at least a good 40 seconds. I thought he was actually going to fail it. He couldn't get that bar even. He was sliding back. He has some tremendous grip strength and upper body to be on that obstacle for so long, and he still managed to advance to the wedge. Most likely, I think he would have completed the wedge if he wasn't stuck, because he did exert a lot of upper body and grip strength on that obstacle. So he was fatigued once he reached the wedge. So pretty talented. He has potential. I do say second stage. Even though he did fail the wedge, I feel like the wing nut, if he reaches there, would be his downfall. If anything, I would say midway to wing nut on the second stage for Drew Knapp. But very talented, and that was a great save that he had. Bart Copeland, he was the guy. I think he was like the first few competitors. He failed the dismount on the wedge. First stage, probably last 2 obstacles to down up salmon ladder. Second stage for him. Craig Richard, don't know who that. Wedge, first stage. Dan Yeager, he had potential. He does train with the Wolfpack. This first season, I think he did advance the second stage. Hasn't been there since. I don't think he competed in Vegas last year, so my prediction for him is, he did fail the wedge, so I think second stage. Whatever that the obstacle after the down up salmon ladder, or midway second stage. Ryan Suter, first stage. Carson Boyles, his name is familiar. First stage for him. Jesse, he was the surprise competitor in this region. They said he failed the first obstacle in qualifying last year. He was in the walk-on line for like 29 something days. That's ridiculous. That's literally a month. And he was really dedicated, and he really showed up for that, because he was only him, Lauren Ball, and Ian Doherty were the only competitors to make it past the wedge. So kudos to him. Wasn't expecting that. My prediction for him in Vegas, not sure. Maybe first stage. I haven't really seen what type of competitor he is. If he was able to pass the wedge, I'm guaranteed he's capable of reaching the second stage. Probably midway. Probably be the farthest he gets. Lauren Ball. Now, Lauren Ball, I call him the speed demon. He's been on the show forever. He was always known as that competitor with speed, but no upper body whatsoever. I mean, ANW 5, ANW 6, he was failing salmon ladders. In Vegas, he was failing the double salmon ladder. So he really he has so much speed, but when it comes to the back half of the course, he just falters. And that's really separating him from being an elite competitor. even I'm really glad he pinpointed that out, and now he's training with the Wolfpack, and he's doing a lot of rock climbing, which is good. That's really going to help him with his grip strength, his upper body, of course, his forearm strength. So he had a very impressive, I mean, that save on the wedge was ridiculous. I mean, that dismount, like, he literally almost failed. That's just pure athleticism right there. Even though he did make it to the Ninja Go roll, which I think was a very interesting and very unique obstacle, I feel like his upper body strength and grip strength are still weak, still depleted. So he's a speed competitor, so he's definitely going to get past stage 1, but I say an early exit on stage 2. Most likely down up salmon ladder or the obstacle after that. I don't see him getting that far on stage 2, because as we know, stage 2 is a combination of speed, efficiency, upper body, grip strength, and he doesn't have that. He only has one of those. So I say down up salmon ladder to the obstacle after that. Now, Ian Dory. I'm happy for Dory. Very consistent competitor. You know, they even stated ever since he made his rookie's debut, he's cleared every single qualifying course and city finals course. So he has a 100% record. Last season was kind of disappointing for him. He did fail the second obstacle, which I was very surprised. A lot of people expected him to reach the final stage. I mean, he was very close in the ANW7, just one bar away, and unfortunately he failed. But I have high expectations for Dory. I think he is capable of, he's a rock climber. He trains with the Wolfpack. You know, he's the best competitor out of all of them in the Wolfpack. He's got the farthest out of all of them. So I'm really capable that he is able to advance to stage 4 this season. I think he's going to can get really far in Vegas. He has the potential to, and especially on the city finals course when they're training on altitude. I mean, that was ridiculous. I mean, he was really grinning. He was grunting all the way from the wedge. Like, I could tell that altitude is no joke. It's just the air is different, you know, it's not the same. Like, if it was another city finals course, he would have easily cleared it. And he even stated that was the hardest city's final course he ever faced. And for him to complete that, there's no doubt in my mind he cannot reach the end of stage 3, if not the final stage. Will he complete it? I'm not sure, because I don't know what the final stage is. I did see 2 ropes, so I'm guessing you have to climb up 2 ropes, but I'm still unsure of the whole final stage. But my prediction for Dory is, if he doesn't slip up, he's capable of stage 4. If not, maybe even total victory. You never know. Vegas is so unpredictable. But yeah, quick recap of the whole city finals. I think this was the most difficult, toughest city finals courses ever in ANW history. I mean, every single region. I think LA was the only region that had 4 finishers. Every other region had either 1 or 2 competitors finish. And even Kansas City didn't even have any finishers, which I feel like was the easiest city finals course, but we already know the situation with that. But love it, great. We really saw some uprising potential, some veterans, very consistent athletes, you know, mixture. So I'm really excited for Vegas. Can't wait. So that's my prediction. I will do another prediction video based off of after the first stage of Vegas. So look forward to that. But other than that, that's my video. Peace out.